iOS 26. Discover 10 plus new features in the phone app. Prepare to be amazed. iOS 26 is revolutionizing the phone app like never before. While often overshadowed by major updates in other areas, this latest iteration brings forth exciting new features designed to enhance your calling experience and protect you from unsolicited interruptions. Let's dive deep into what you can expect. A fresh look. The phone app is getting a sleek makeover with a new unified design, simplifying access to important features. However, if you prefer the vintage charm of iOS 18, fear not. Users can switch back to that familiar layout. This new design consolidates your recent calls, missed calls, and voicemails into one helpful screen, streamlining your experience. Your favorite contacts are still prominently displayed at the top, ensuring they are always just a tap away. Switching views is easy too. Just tap the icon with 3 lines located in the upper right of the screen. Enhanced call screening. One of the standout features in iOS 26 is a significant upgrade to call screening. Apple now allows you to automatically reach out to unknown callers, those not saved in your contacts, to request their name and the purpose of their call. This is done through an automated system that intercepts the incoming call. When the feature is activated, your iPhone will prompt the caller to provide their details, which are then transcribed and sent to you as a text notification, allowing you to decide whether to take the call or send it to voicemail. The person calling will receive an automated message requesting their information, effectively placing them on hold as you make your decision. You can activate this feature by going to the phone section in your settings and toggling on Ask Reason for Calling. Mute unknown callers. If you prefer a more hands-off approach, iOS 26 still includes an option to silence calls from unknown numbers. This setting automatically diverts calls from unsaved contacts to voicemail, keeping your phone quiet. Although these calls will still appear in your recents list, you can retrieve information from the voicemails left behind to determine if the call was important. For those who want to keep ringing unidentified numbers, simply set the Screen Unknown Callers feature to Never, and they will ring normally, showing missed calls in your recents. Advanced call filtering. In addition to enhanced call screening, iOS 26 introduces smart call filtering options. You can now choose to have missed calls and voicemails from unknown numbers organized into a designated unknown callers list, making them easy to manage without cluttering your main screen. Additionally, the system can automatically mute calls flagged as spam by your carrier. For instance, if you're a Verizon user, certain numbers marked as spam will be sent directly to voicemail, while still allowing you the option to review these calls later. You simply tap on an icon in the upper right corner to check your filtered calls. Handling spam voicemails. Now, when you listen to a voicemail from an unknown number, there's a convenient Report Spam button. By tapping it, you can report the message to Apple and choose to keep it or get rid of it. If you opt to delete it, you'll also have the opportunity to report it as spam at that moment. Please note that reporting spam does not automatically block the caller. You will need to do this separately by tapping the I on their contact card and selecting Block Contact. Introducing Hold Assist. Have you ever been put on hold while calling? iOS 26 has your back with a new Hold Assist feature that listens for hold music and alerts you when a representative comes on the line, so you can continue to multitask. To enable this, simply make a call and tap on the button once the connection is established. Your phone will ring when it's time to return to the call. However, do keep in mind that the effectiveness of Hold Assist may vary if the hold system uses voice prompts or has distinctive lyrics. Live translation feature. Breaking down language barriers, the new live translation feature can translate conversations in real time during calls. By tapping the button during a call, you can turn on this function and select the languages you wish to translate between. Currently, this feature supports translations among several languages, including English, French, German, Portuguese, and Spanish. As you converse, you'll see a notification that indicates the translation process, accompanied by an AI voice that speaks what is being said in your preferred language. This allows for seamless communication, even if the other party is not using an iPhone. Comprehensive call history access. Now tracking your conversations has become even easier. With the extended call history feature, you can tap the I next to any contact name or number in the phone app, and then select Call History to view an archive of all your past interactions dating back years. Siri at your fingertips. During calls, you can leverage the Type to Siri feature, enabling you to ask Siri questions or command actions without interrupting the conversation. Furthermore, iOS 26 introduces SharePlay and screen sharing capabilities. When on a call with someone using compatible devices, simply tap the play button to access these features. With SharePlay, you can select an app to use together, whether it's music on Apple Music or videos on Apple TV. Screen sharing provides the ability to remotely assist someone by gaining access to their device, making it a handy tool for troubleshooting. Seamless eSIM transfers. Apple has also improved how you manage eSIM transfers between Android devices and iPhones. When accessing cellular settings on your iPhone, you will find a straightforward Transfer to Android option alongside a Transfer from Android option for onboarding new SIM cards to your iPhone. Expanding the phone experience. For those using an iPad or Mac, the phone app is now available on iPad OS 26 and Mac OS Tahoe, meaning you can use all these innovative features like call screening, hold assist, and live translation on these devices as well. Just remember that you'll need an iPhone on the same Apple account and have Wi-Fi calling enabled for making calls on your iPad or Mac. Curious for more? If you want to explore even further into the new feature set of iOS 26, be sure to check out our complete roundup for an in-depth look. So with all these new features, which one do you find the most intriguing? Do you think enhanced call screening will protect you better against spam calls? Or do you think managing your call history is the real winner? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. iOS 26 Diary. Embracing the new look and direction. Imagine waking up to a completely transformed iPhone interface, one that feels both fresh and familiar. That's exactly what iOS 26 brings to the table, and it's a game changer. Since the first developer beta, I've been diving deep into this new operating system, and now that the public beta is out, it's time to share my early impressions. This isn't just a minor update. It's a significant overhaul of the iPhone user interface, something we haven't seen in years. But here's where it gets controversial. While the new look is stunning, it's not without its glitches. However, I've been able to get a pretty good feel for everyday use, with only one app refusing to cooperate. The email client Spark, for instance, crashes on opening, so I've temporarily reverted to the stock Mail app. But let's dive deeper into what makes iOS 26 so special. The liquid glass look is a standout feature. Back when we were anticipating iOS 18 and iOS 19, I predicted that the new look would have a bigger impact than any Siri improvements. Little did I know just how true that would be, especially since we're still waiting for most of the new Siri features. The new look in iOS 26 has indeed proven controversial, but I must say, I'm a big fan. In recent years, one generation of iPhone has looked much like the last, and the same has been largely true of iOS. I was ready for something new, even if it meant dealing with some rough edges in the beta phases. Some users have been critical of inconsistencies in the look. For example, Apple responded to control panel legibility complaints by making those controls frosted glass, while most of the UI comprises clearish glass. However, to me, both are clearly glass-based, and I don't see it as an issue to have a variety of glass looks. One big question was to what degree Apple was going to return to the skeuomorphism of pre-iOS 7. The answer is not really. The camera app icon is perhaps the closest we get to it, But even that isn't attempting to look anything like a real camera, just a somewhat more realistic-looking lens. Most app icons retain their original symbols and have a rather subtle 3D glass effect. I'm a very big fan of this look. Indeed, my only criticism would be that it doesn't go far enough. I'd like to see Apple be bolder and dial up both the glass effect and 3D impression by 30% or so. Speaking of the camera app, this also gets one of the most dramatic UI changes. The bottom slider has been replaced with two buttons, video and photo. I do think this makes perfect sense. Probably 98% of iPhone owners only ever use these two functions, and most of the 2% likely mostly do so. I put replaced in inverted commas because the slider is still present. If you slide across these buttons, then all the previous options, time-lapse, slow-mo, and so on, appear in the same way as they did before. The new UI can certainly be criticized on the grounds that it's not particularly intuitive. There's no visual clue that you can slide for more options, nor that you can tap somewhere within the surrounding area to bring up more options. But once you know where everything is, it is actually a very efficient UI, and I've come to like it a lot. It gets out of your way when you don't need it, but all the controls can be accessed quickly and easily. The changes to the Photos app have come in for a lot of flack, but for me, the core problem is that the app has grown progressively more powerful, complicating what was once a very simple UI. Once Apple separated out the library and collections into separate tabs, and I used the reorder button to arrange the collections into a sensible order for me, I've actually found that the new UI works really well. I'd say if you hate it at first, try reordering things to suit your own needs, and then give it a little time to grow on you. The most appealing new feature is call screening, which works like a live visual voicemail feature. This answers calls from unknown numbers and asks them who they are and what they want, probably phrased a little more politely. It then shows you a text version of their response, and you can then choose whether or not to answer the call. Sadly, while the feature can be enabled in the UK, it has never worked for me. Instead, it just silently rejects calls from unknown numbers. There's also Hold Assist. When you find yourself on hold, you just tap to engage the feature, and it announces when the call has been answered. However, I've found this is almost useless due to the extremely annoying way most companies manage their hold queues, which is to switch between music and a voice message to the effect, "We apologize for the delay," which we pretend is due to unusual call volumes, but is in fact because we don't want to pay for enough staff to answer the perfectly normal call volumes we are experiencing. Apple's system hears the voice, thinks the call has been connected, and disables the hold. To work properly, the system needs to distinguish between short, "Thanks for calling X, my name is Y, how can I help you?" type speech, and lengthy, "Your call is important to us, though not important enough to properly staff our phones, and really, we hope you'll give up and try our website instead," recorded messages. There's also a new unified UI, which reduces the number of tabs. But I'm not a fan. I switched back to the normal view. The headline news for me in the Messages app is the anti-spam feature similar to the phone one, where texts from unknown numbers are not displayed on the main screen, but in a secondary one you have to tap to view. I'm a fan of this, though it's easy to forget to check it for genuine messages, so I'd prefer a prompt at the end of the day. This is one case where Apple Intelligence summaries might perhaps come in handy. With something like, "You have 3 texts from unknown numbers. 2 are scams claiming to offer you jobs with TikTok and Meta. 1 says that your flight to Boston tomorrow has been delayed." I like the polls feature, which I use a lot in WhatsApp for things like finding dates for group dinners, and hate the ability to change the background as this happens for everyone. Apple long since addressed the controversial iOS 15 move of the unified bar from the top of the screen to the bottom by allowing people the choice. Personally, I was a strong convert to having it at the bottom of the screen, but iOS 26 introduces a new option called Compact. This hides all but the back button, so that we get more usable screen space. It also shrinks vertically and contracts horizontally when you're not actively using it. I immediately adopted this and haven't looked back. The key Apple Intelligence capability I'm waiting for is a Siri that can interact with my apps. I'd really like to be able to tell Siri what it is I'm trying to achieve, e.g., arrange dinner with Sam, Clara, and Bill, and have it do the rest. Check my free evenings, create a poll, message them, invite restaurant suggestions, create a poll for that, and then make the booking. That kind of intelligent agent capability still seems to be a very long way off. What we've got for now are a few baby steps, like the ability to identify dates in event screen grabs and offer to add them to your calendar. In my limited testing, this only picks up the first date for multi-day events and doesn't do a good job of identifying its name, so fairly useless for now, but I'm happy at least to see some steps in the right direction. Similarly, the ability to spell names when dictating text. But there is one new Apple Intelligence feature which appears to work far better than any of the competition I've seen to date: live translation. Many companies have promised this, but the reality never lives up to the expectations. I've so far only been able to test this against conversational Spanish videos, but certainly for those, it has been phenomenally accurate. I will be testing it in live conversation and will report back in a future post. So far then, I really like the new look and would like to see Apple take it further. Feature-wise, there's a lot of work to be done to make it all effective and reliable, but I do think the company is headed in the right direction, and I'm impatiently awaiting improvements. What I'm really waiting for is the new Siri, and it's clear that I'm going to have a continued lengthy wait. This is frustrating, to say the least, especially given what else is out there from other tech companies. I very much hope that the end result will justify the wait. And this is the part most people miss. The true potential of iOS 26 lies not just in its visual appeal, but in the seamless integration of new features that enhance user experience. But what do you think? Is the new look of iOS 26 a step forward or a step backward? Do you agree with my assessment, or do you have a different perspective? Let's discuss in the comments.